So we were discussing about the open network commerce platform, in which we saw that how the digital commerce rules are made by the government of India in order to solve the grievances incurred by the digital transactions and purchasing of goods through e-platform. So further, making a new move in this plan, government of India under DPIIT, that is Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, has provided the ONDC, that is Open Network for Digital Commerce. And Open Network for Digital Commerce, DPIIT intends to make e-commerce process including onboarding of sellers, vendor discovery and price discovery, product catalog, open source marketing available for the purchasers, यानी कि जो भी उपभोक्ता हैं, खरीदार हैं ऑनलाइन प्रोडक्ट्स के, उनके लिए दे आर हैविंग ऑल द प्रोडक्ट्स इन द ऑनलाइन मोड विथ ऑल द रिलेटेड इंफॉर्मेशन इन देयर हैंड. Further, making a software or process for the product availability, its details and all the quality guarantees of the standards of the product is also provided and made freely available to all the use of redistribution and to modification. Further, it is expected to digitalize the entire value chain component and the operations, promotion, inclusion of suppliers, as well as the efficiency in logistics and enhancement of value for the consumers. The task of implementing DPIIT ONDC project is also propelled by the Quality Council of India. DPIIT और इंडस्ट्री प्रमोशन बोर्ड के द्वारा जो भी ई मार्केट प्रोडक्ट्स लॉन्च हो रहे हैं फ्रेंड्स, दैट इज ऑल्सो अंडर द मार्क ऑफ क्वालिटी काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया. Then we see that there are various security threats in the government as well as the country of India. Security threat is taken by the various commands of Indian Army, Navy and Air Force, in which the figure of India shows that the northern command of Udhampur is leading Jammu and Kashmir Union Territory. Then second command post in area of Haryana is Army Training Center. Then Western Command at Shandi Mandir, again at the Himachal Pradesh. Then next is Western Command at New Delhi, Southwestern Command Jaipur, Southwestern Command Gandhinagar, Western Naval Command Mumbai, and Training Command of Bengaluru. Then these are 17 command houses which regulate the army regulation, posting as well as the armament centers. So remember this fact for your prelims as well as mains. It goes in paper 3 security. Paper 3 security का ये part है. Now the current system of military commands India goes from 1947 after the independence, where there have been integration of Indian Army, Navy and Air Force by creating a post of Chief of Defence Staff. So CDS की पोस्ट हमने बनाई, जिसमें कि CDS विपिन रावत was the first 5-star CDS officer for integrating all the forces. So integrating forces via Army, Navy and Air Force. So the Indian Army, Navy and Air Force, which has a multiple command and vertically split into the command structure, there are 17 military commands for tri-services, Army, Air Force and Indian Navy, leading to the wastage and duplication of resources. Now, the Integrated Threat Command makes for the integration of Northern Command. So Government of India is planning to make a Integrated Threat Command, and this Integrated Command will deal with the Northern Command, Western Command, Eastern Command and Air Defense Command. Further, the Marine Command and the Logistics Command also very important. Government has made PM Gati Shakti Yojana for the logistics only. logistics and supply chain management. So this leads to the Western and Eastern Threats Command headed by Army generals with the Air Command component of Air Defense as well as the Indian Air Force officer, which goes for Maritime Threat Command by Top Vice Admiral of the Navy. Remember this fact. Then the challenges posed by the Integrated Threat Command goes for geographical stretch of India. So India is having a vast geographical locality spreading through the upper part and lower part of Tropic of Capricorn to the Indian Ocean. So that again plays a huge challenge. This mountainous areas as well as the desert area. तो रेगिस्तानी क्षेत्र है मित्रों, then mountains हैं और there is ocean areas. This again poses a huge threat for the geographical territory of India. A movement of one part to the another. Then experts argue that the current model is sufficient to protect our territory and lanes of communication and feasibility in transportation. Further, possibility of inter-service friction. There are higher rank officials in Navy also and Army also and Air Force also, but the dominance of Indian Army goes for longer period because of the highest strength they are having at the ground level and the accessibility of all these offices, security intelligence and DRDO equipments with all the military stealth technologies and other technologies. That is why they can have the inter-services friction. So the Indian Air Force concerned about the model over the division of air assets and dilution of power can lead to problem in these offices. Now next part of news goes for the environment, in which we see that World Environment Day, June 5, Uttarakhand became the first state of India to have a gross environment product. First state of India, that is Uttarakhand, becomes the first state of India to have a gross environment product. So gross environment product Uttarakhand में माना गया है. And what is gross environment product? It is a total value of final ecosystem services supplied by human well-being in the region annually and can measure by biophysical value and monetary value. So the monetary value of all the resources provided under the biomedical remedies are taken under the gross environment product. Now it also caters the demand of the state after the Kedarnath disaster 2013. 2013 Kedarnath disaster, we saw that entire mountain was having a landslide and there was flooding inside the Kedarnath temple and the area was highly suffering with the disaster. But post that disaster there was a recovery in the system of traveling, tourism and the infrastructure development for the tourism purposes by maintaining the environment sustainability and green measures to develop the environment also. That again makes for GEP potential. So in this diagram we see that how GDP is affected by green economic product. Now environment product goes for catering the animals and plantation trees as well as fisheries which are protected under gross environment product. So GDP is also developed by fisheries, horticulture, agro products as well as the selling of the bovine products. So in the pandemic situation we also see that how GDP of India was maintained by the gross environmental product by tackling all the decision in terms of environment and agricultural products that cater the need of India's economy as well as develop the export sector. For example, GDP is developed by mining, manufacturing, construction, transportation and storage, information communication, wholesale and retail, financial insurance and real estate services, public administration and such services under the GDP. But in the green economy, forestry, fishing, recreation, tourism and hydropower, and also the water retention improves, flood mitigation improves, soil retention is improved, sandstone preservation is improved, pollination is improved, carbon sequestration improves, mental health improves, and air purification also goes, then water purification also, and the climate regulation. So remember these 10 points for your prelims point of view. Very important, friends. Now, the green GDP caters the total production of a state with green environment production and how much work the states goes to do with the reducing of loss of the ecosystem in the environment protection and resource use, need of green environment product for economic growth and alone which cannot represent the true economic development, and lower human well-being if it is accompanied by growing inequity and environment degradation. So if we as a human being are not able to preserve the environment and maintain the environmental equity, we cannot develop the resource depletion. So resources depletion during industrial growth is also leading to disproportionate rural economy, and which is depending on green environmental products. Further, accounting green environment product into GDP will give a true measure of the nation's growth towards sustainable development. There are United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and Goal 13 reach for the climate action. Goal 13 climate action, that again makes for very important part of green economy than the traditional system of national accounts SNA like GDP and GNP in neither part of the accounting system of India, which again caters the economic and environmental protection under these value chain measures. Now there is benefits of people derived from the ecosystem like provisioning services, food, wood and regulation services, water purification and carbon sequestration. Remember these two services. First is the provisioning services जिसमें कि हमें फूड वुड एक्सेट्रा मिल रहे हैं. देन सेकेंड सर्विस इज रेगुलेटरिंग सर्विसेज, दैट इज क्लीन वाटर, कार्बन सिक्वेस्ट्रेशन, एयर प्यूरिफिकेशन, बायोमास वेल्थ. So such kind of facilities are free of cost provided from the environment to the human society. Next part is the initiative for global standards, that is system of environmental and economic accounts. Again a new keyword, that is CRSEEA, in which हम देखते हैं कि environmental mechanism की प्रोटेक्शन और प्रिजर्वेशन के लिए COP21 targets and other COP targets are encountered. Then this standard incorporates the natural capital as well as the quality into accounting system. So China since 2004 has been yielding a much more environmental concern by reducing the carbon emission. So it closes the various thermal power plants and switch to the solar power plants, wind energy, hydro plants and OTC sources. तो चाइना ने अपने बहुत सारे environmental threats को reduce कर दिया है and it is using renewable energy by growing rapidly system of environment. Then the Happy Planet Index created by British New Economic Foundation. Remember this new index for your prelims point of view, that is Happy Planet Index by New Economic Foundation, which shows that the national welfare in the context of environmental sustainability, environment को sustainable रखते हुए कैसे resource का efficient use किया जा रहा है किसी देश के द्वारा, that is turned by the Happy Planet Index and New Economic Foundation. Now, Bhutan's gross national happiness index also shows the environmental preservation leading to the development of human happiness and quality of life. So, it has 4 policy objectives which goes for Sweden in 2003 into the various environmental indicators like air emission, waste generation, water pollution, soil degradation and so on, which makes for the government policy achieving the sustainable development measures. Now, we are having the ethanol blended fuel for India's emission reduction. तो पेट्रोल और डीजल के द्वारा सबसे ज़्यादा emission हो रहा था. Now we are having the blended fuel with gasoline and the ethanol. So we are advanced to the advanced stage for 20% of ethanol blending, जिसे हमने बजट में भी पढ़ा था मित्रों. If you remember, in your budget we are switching to E20 fuel. Earlier we have E10 fuel in which 10% of mixture in the petrol with ethanol. Now we are switching to 20% mixture of gasoline in the petrol by ethanol blending. So government has also made a roadmap for ethanol blending in India by 2025. 2025 तक ये टारगेट रखा गया है दोस्तों कि 20% तक पेट्रोल में इथानॉल की ब्लेंडिंग की जाएगी एंड मेकिंग इट टू अ E20 पेट्रोल. सो E20 स्टैंडर्ड्स में से बदल दिया जाएगा. नाउ E10 fuel supplies to be reduced and E20 to be merged since April 2023 and to meet the target by April 2025. यानी कि इन कमिंग नेक्स्ट ईयर अप्रैल 2023 में E20 फ्यूल पे हम स्विच कर जाएंगे. जो भी करेंटली रनिंग पेट्रोल व्हीकल्स हैं उनमें पेट्रोल में E10 पेट्रोल यूज़ कर रहे हैं, यानी कि 10% ऑफ इथानॉल इज ब्लेंडेड इन द पेट्रोल. नाउ दैट पेट्रोल क्वालिटी विल बी स्विच टू द E20 पेट्रोल क्वालिटी फ्रॉम 23 to 2025. Now, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas in a year 2003 proposed ethanol blending program by Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. Then second, in 2014 the government introduced administered prices mechanism. APM mechanism आ गया था 2014 में, which again goes for blending of ethanol into petrol to reduce the emission. Then in year 2018 national biofuel policy in a year 2018 which shows that ethanol blended petrol has interest subvention scheme into enhancement of ethanol blending capacity. Then in the year 2020 we have national biofuel coordination committee to utilize the nature of the petrols which are produced by the refineries and which rise link with the FCI to be distilleries of ethanol productions. FCI गोडाउंस में जो भी राइस प्रोड्यूस बचे हुए थे जो कि सड़ रहे थे, ख़राब हो रहे थे, उनको यूज़ करके इथानॉल ब्लेंडिंग में कन्वर्ट किया जाना. ओके. देन नेक्स्ट पार्ट गोज इन ISS, which is 2021 interest subvention scheme for enhancement and augmentation of ethanol production capacity, which extended to grain based distilleries and distilleries producing from the feedstock like sorghum, sugar beet, sugar cane and so on. Remember these keywords for your prelims point of view. आप इसे याद रखें and make notes. Then what is ethanol blending? So we see that we have sugar cane. Sugar cane से हम क्या निकालते हैं friends? Sugar cane goes to molasses and molasses into ethanol. Now this ethanol is mixed with the petrol. So in ethanol blending, it is a process of blending motor fuel containing ethyl alcohol that is 99% purely derived from agri products, molasses, ब्लेंडेड विथ गैसोलीन, तो उसको गैसोलीन के साथ ब्लेंड किया जाना, मिक्स करना, दिस प्रोसेस कॉल्ड एज इथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग. Now bioethanol products in the worldwide scenario, in this graph we see India is using only 2% of blended fuel, Canada is using 2% of blended fuel, and USA, United States of America, is using 57% of ethanol blending. You see that it is reducing its carbon emission by 57%. Then Brazil, a part of BRICS member, is reducing the ethanol by 27%. So highest used by USA, America 57% blending कर रहा है, and ब्राज़ील कितना परसेंट कर रहा है, 27%, and China 3%. That is a very close neighbor to India. China is using 3% of ethanol blended petroleum. So now ethanol blend based flex fuel vehicles are also being progressed in India. So ऐसे vehicle जो ethanol blended fuels को use करते हैं friends, that vehicles are called as the flex vehicles. तो आप advertisement में देखते हैं बहुत सारे hybrid vehicles आ रहे हैं, flex vehicles आ रहे हैं. So flex vehicles are using the ethanol blended petroleum and they are reducing the carbon emission by a large percentage of number. So government plans to issue new guidelines for the flex fuel vehicle by October. So in the budget which we discussed 2022-23, वहाँ पे हमने flex fuel policy को पढ़ा है, आप वो लेक्चर एक बार फिर से देखें. And it is a mixture of gasoline and petroleum, further to promote manufacturing and use of flex engines in vehicles. And auto companies' introduction of flex fuel vehicle will pose the another challenge that they are having the flex fuel technology which is reducing the emission capacity, and standard of flex fuel vehicle mandatory required the addition of valuable ethanol into the petroleum product, and which leads the more investment. So government initiative to produce bioethanol is PM जीवन, that is जैव ईंधन वातावरण अनुकूल फसल अवशेष निवारण योजना. 12 commercial plants under PM जीवन योजना. So PM जीवन योजना को आप याद रखेंगे मित्रों, and it is under 12 commercial plants and 10 demonstration plants for 2G biorefineries which investigates and manufactures the ethanol blended fuels for sufficient energy of biomass and ethanol blending throughout the route. Then 2G plant utilizes the surplus biomass and agriculture waste to product bioethanol. Further, Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs approved rupees 8,460 crore modified scheme for extending interest subvention for the setting of molasses, durum feed, sugar beet, स्वीट सोरगम एंड सीरियल्स, यानी कि इन सारे चीज़ों को सड़ा के हम इथानॉल बनाते हैं मित्रों. मोलासेस, शुगर बीट, स्वीट सोरगम और सीरियल्स जो अनाज सड़ जाते हैं उनका उपयोग करके हम इथानॉल को ब्लेंड करते हैं. देन फोकस इज ऑन इंक्रीजिंग द इंडियाज इथानॉल प्रोडक्शन कैपेसिटी and a pilot project of E100 dispensing stations are at 3 locations at Pune. हमने देखा था अभी तक ब्लेंडिंग हो रही थी इन E10 and E20 parameters. Now the target of government of India is to develop the E100 fuel parameter, यानी कि 100% blending of petrol with ethanol, यानी कि पेट्रोलियम should be 1% around और 99% इथानॉल रहेगा. That will lead to zero emission. तो जीरो इमिशन का टारगेट गवर्नमेंट ने रखा है बाय 2070. उसको भी मीट करने पे हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं. एंड विच इज लोकेटेड एट पुणे. रिमेंबर दिस फैक्ट फॉर योर प्रीलिम्स. डिस्पेंसेशन प्लांट बन रहा है. नाउ प्राइसिंग ऑफ E20 व्हीकल, सो वैसे व्हीकल जो 20% ऑफ ब्लेंडेड फ्यूल का यूज़ करेंगे, यानी कि E20 व्हीकल्स, उनकी प्राइसिंग विल बी हायर देन द रेंज ऑफ ₹300 to ₹500 फॉर फोर व्हीलर्स एंड ₹1000 to 2000 फॉर टू व्हीलर्स. Above the cost of ordinary vehicle turn 100% of gasoline. तो ऐसे व्हीकल को 100% गैसोलीन तक लाया जाना की कोशिश हो रही है. Then water footprints undergoes for sugar cane in a water intensive crop and which led to highest water consumption per acre. तो जब हम गन्ने की खेती की बात करते हैं तो शुगर केन अगेन अ खरीफ क्रॉप विच नीड्स 250 centimeter of rainfall and it is highest water intensive crop and which is again used for the ethanol blending by generating molasses. Then ethanol production facility, कैसे ethanol production facility develop हो रही है? By ethanol production of 684 crore liter for the targeted 20% blending of ethanol petrol by 2030. That is E20 petrol is having 20% of ethanol blending. उसकी टारगेट गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने 2030 तक रखी है एंड जो कि इसमें ब्लेंड किया जा रहा है. इन कंपैरिजन ऑफ ग्लोबल प्लेयर्स वी आर प्राइसिंग इथेनॉल प्रोड्यूस्ड इन इंडिया एट हायर लेवल. That is again a challenge for government to reduce the price of ethanol blended vehicles and fuels. Glacial Lake Atlas of Ganga River Basin. So in Ganga River Basin we saw that there was again a rediscussion about sedimentation of Ganga River system. गंगा के क्षेत्र में sedimentation बढ़ गया है and Ministry of Jal Shakti has released atlas of glacial lake that are part of the Ganga River Basin about. सो गंगा रिवर बेसिन में ग्लेशियल लेक्स बन रही हैं, सेडिमेंटेशन हो रहा है, उसके लिए नए मिशन लाए गए हैं, दैट इज नेशनल हाइड्रोलॉजी प्रोजेक्ट. सो इट मेक्स द एक्सेसिबिलिटी ऑफ वाटर रिसोर्स इंफॉर्मेशन एंड टू स्ट्रेंथन द कैपेसिटी ऑफ टारगेटेड वाटर रिसोर्सेज मैनेजमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशंस इन इंडिया. दैट नेशनल हाइड्रोलॉजी प्रोजेक्ट अगेन गोज फॉर रिमोट सेंसिंग सेंटर्स. So two parts of national mission for the hydrology, that is National Resource Sensing Center. Resource sensing और remote sensing के द्वारा हम किसी भी लोकेलिटी में वाटर की फ्लो को अगर डिस्ट्रॉय हो रही है, डिस्टर्ब हो रही है, तो उसको हम कैटर करके उसको हम चेक कर सकते हैं अंडर NRSC प्रोजेक्ट. Then it is carrying out hydrological studies using satellite data and geospatial technology. ये क्या कर रहा है? सैटेलाइट डेटा को जियोस्पेशियल टेक्नोलॉजी के द्वारा कैटर कर रहा है अंडर वेरियस फ्लो एरियाज ऑफ गंगा रिवर, जहाँ पे कहीं कहीं ड्यून्स बन जाते हैं, कहीं पे मोरेंस हो जाते हैं, कहीं पे गंगा नदी मैरिनेशन करने लगती है. दैट ऑल प्रॉब्लम्स आर tracked by using this remote sensing methodology under this mission. So under GLOF, that is glacial lake inventory flooding, there is entire catchment of Indian Himalayan river covering Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra नदी. भारत की तीन बड़ी नदियाँ in terms of water capacity and perennial transportation of water throughout the year goes for Ganga, Brahmaputra and Indus, which are being continuously monitored in terms of their water carrying capacity as well as their transportation measures. Further, the glacial lake is formed by water mass existing into sufficient amount of existing with free surface in baseline beside front of an glacier and originate from glacier activities. So we see that when there is formation of river under certain mountainous areas, तो नदी जब बनती है मित्रों, there is a glacier which moves to and fro making V shape and U shape gorges. सो वी शेप एंड यू शेप गॉर्जेस बनाते हुए कोई भी ग्लेशियर मूव करता है इन द अपर फ्रंट ऑफ रिवर which we see in the Himalayan region of Dehradun and Rishikesh. And as the glacier moves forward, it leads to the river movement to a larger part of plainy areas where it goes for slower and slower process of movement, and that leads to the formation of glacial lakes. तो ऐसे जगहों पे क्या बनता है, ग्लेशियल लेक्स बन जाती हैं. एंड ऑल्सो देयर इज आइस डैम, बर्फीले बांध बन जाते हैं इन ग्लेशियर के द्वारा. नाउ दिस लीड्स टू प्रॉब्लम ऑफ द लोकल रूरल हैबिटेंट्स, जहाँ पे ये आइस डैम क्रिएट कर देते हैं और साइड एरियाज में फ्लडिंग हो जाती है, which we saw in the Kedarnath disaster, that one glacier was burst into the mountainous areas and that glacier struck down near the peak of mountain, and उसके साथ साथ साइड से नदी बहनी शुरू होगी और गंगा की फ्लो से there was huge flooding in the Kedarnath region. So this damming material are generally weak in the nature and can breach suddenly due to various kind of flow of the water. So ऐसे अगर ग्लेशियर बर्स्ट हो रहे हैं तो गंगा की जो मॉनिटरिंग डिवाइसेस है, जियो स्पेशियल डेटा जो कलेक्ट कर रही हैं, वो मॉनिटरिंग करके सिग्नल हाउस पे इंडिकेशन देंगी कि दैट एरिया इज हैविंग फ्लडिंग सिचुएशन. तो वहाँ पे क्या किया जाएगा, बॉर्डर रोड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड NHRPC नेशनल हाइड्रो प्रोजेक्ट लिमिटेड, सो इनके इंजीनियर्स वहाँ पे RFID के द्वारा उस ग्लेशियल बर्स्ट को एट द स्पॉट उसको काउंटर करेंगे और उसको वहीं पे डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिया जाएगा. सो उससे फ्लड्स की जो सिचुएशन है उसे हम रोक सकते हैं. नाउ नेक्स्ट पार्ट गोज फॉर द मैप. सो आप मैप में देख रहे हैं हिमाचल प्रदेश एंड उत्तराखंड शोइंग द ओरिजिनेशन ऑफ यमुना एंड गंगा रिवर. तो ऐसे जगहों पे ग्लेशियर्स फॉर्म हो रहे हैं एंड ग्लेशियर मूवमेंट्स आपको सामने दिख रहे हैं, एंड दिस गोज फॉर द एरियाज फ्रॉम द small areas where the movement of Ganga and Yamuna river is there. Yamuna coming from Yamunotri meeting at Allahabad, but the glacial process goes in that area of Gangotri valley where there is a huge glacier. तो ग्लेशियर वहाँ पे मूवमेंट करता है और वहाँ पे बहुत सारे फ्लडिंग इफेक्ट्स फाउंड होते हैं. फर्दर देयर इज शारदा रिवर विथ सेम चैलेंज, घाघरा रिवर in Uttar Pradesh, Rapti in Uttar Pradesh, Gandak in Bihar, Bagmati in Bihar, Kosi is most famous for flood. तो कोसी को बिहार का शोक कहते हैं. Then Kamla river again and lower Ganga basin. Similarly we saw such cases in Brahmaputra river basin. ब्रह्मपुत्रा भी ऐसे फ्लड्स लेके आती है. So we remember this data for the sub basin of Ganga river basin, that is Bagmati 7635, 3.09%, Ganga 36,000, 14%, Ghagra 53,000, 21.48, Kosi 59,709, 24%, lower Ganga 6,500, 2.6%, Ram Ganga 11,000. So आप इसे याद रखेंगे, है ना, शारदा, पर गंगा एंड यमुना. Remember this data for your prelims point of view. Now going into the next part, that lakes with greater than or equals to 5 hectare in size are 672 and 14.28% of contribution to 76.87 of total lake area in the basin. More than half, that is 59.25% of lakes that's situated in the high altitude range of greater range of 5000 मीटर, 5000 मीटर के हाई एल्टीट्यूड रेंज पे ये नदियाँ काम करती हैं. देन अदर मोरेन डैम लेक टाइप, आउट ऑफ 2 सब बेसिन्स ओनली 6 सब बेसिन्स कंटेन ग्लेशियर लेक्स. तो ये 6 सब बेसिन्स में ऐसे ग्लेशियर लेक्स बनते हैं. एंड विच फॉलोज द 51.77% एंड घाघरा सब बेसिन 26.7%. सो कोसी बेसिन में सबसे ज़्यादा फ्लड आते हैं बिकॉज ऑफ 51.7% of area coverage. Then minimum number of glacial lakes are present in the Yamuna sub-basin, then the Sharda sub-basin. Glacial ice dam lake is only one of the entire Ganga river basin and located in Ganga sub-basin. Then Uttarakhand shares 93.50 of lake count, which is having 6.50 in Himachal Pradesh. So उत्तराखंड में सबसे ज़्यादा ग्लेशियर्स हैं, that is 93.5%. Remember that data for your prelims point of view. Now next part is organic farming. So government policy initiative goes for large sector of organic resources, in which we found that organic farming is done at various levels, which are chemical free and less hazardous for the soil as well as the crop produced, and more qualitatively for their consumption at various levels. Now LAC area in Andaman and Nicobar has 14,941 हेक्टेयर, 14,491 हेक्टेयर का एरिया अंडमान एंड निकोबार में ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग यूज हो रहा है, एंड दैट इज लार्जेस्ट एरिया सर्टिफिकेशन given to the PSG India, that is Participatory Guarantee System certification program, the first large contiguous territory to be certified. Then LAC, that is large area certification, is unique quick certification program to harness the potential of organic farming in India. It was launched by the Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Remember this department? Then it is under the Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. So land and area certification is provided under Pradhan Mantri Krishi Vikas Yojana, very important, which leads simple documentation and processes to be followed at the government and authority level by checking the documents of the irrigated land area and the farming area under organic cultivation. तो उसको government authorities check करती है, define करती है, and that is provided with separate fund and subsidies for organic farming. Further, the organic farming in India rank 8th in the world's organic farming. That is again a poor data. Is 8th in organic farming, and it also has a 2020 first in terms of total number of producers in India. So India ranks first in the total number of producers as per 2020 data, and it produces around 2.75 million ton in 2019-20 of certificate products, which are of variety of sugar cane, oil seeds, cereals and millets that are produced in India are having 2.75 million target. Then cotton is also included under organic products. Remember this product for your prelims as well as mains point of view. The export of organic food products rose by 51% to a value reach 1040 million to 70,070 crore in the financial year 2021. Among different states, Madhya Pradesh is the largest producer, followed by Maharashtra, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan. These states are highly cultivating for organic cropping. Then Sikkim has become the first state in the world to become fully organic cultivation by 2016. So for the world knowledge, India has Sikkim as the state with 100% organic cropping. Remember this data for your prelims as well as mains point of view. Whenever you are writing your answers in the mains, you can justify your answers by quoting how Sikkim has improved its potential of green farming by introducing 100% cropping in terms of organic pattern and emitted all kind of chemical and fertilizers. Now what is organic Farming. As for Food and Agriculture Organization, organic agriculture is a unique method of production and by management system which promotes, enhances agroecosystem health including biodiversity, biological cycles and soil conservation methods. यानी कि ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग मेथड में हम सॉइल कंजर्वेशन करते हैं, oil fertilization, and there is reduction in the chemical and biological waste. Then on farm agronomic and biological and mechanical methods in the exclusion of synthetic and off farm inputs. So organic farming has the following key characters which goes for maintaining the organic matter levels. ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग में ऑर्गेनिक मैटर्स को हम प्रमोट करते हैं और मेंटेन करते हैं, इंकरेजिंग सॉइल एंड बायोलॉजिकल एक्टिविटी इन द सॉइल. वी सेकेंडली वी डू यूजिंग रिलेटिवली इनसॉल्युबल न्यूट्रिएंट सोर्सेज. सो वैसे सोर्सेज जो कि प्लांट के न्यूट्रिशन क्वालिटी को बढ़ाते हैं, दैट आर इनसॉल्युबल इन नेचर. देन इफेक्टिव रिसाइकलिंग ऑफ ऑर्गेनिक मटेरियल्स, ऑर्गेनिक मटेरियल्स की इफेक्टिव रिसाइकलिंग including crop residue and livestock manures. Then weeds and disease and pest control relying on crop rotations, natural predators and development of such crops which are weed resistant. Then fifth is extensive management of livestock and animal welfare. जो भी एनिमल्स हैं और लाइव स्टॉक्स हैं, बोवाइन ब्रीडिंग एनिमल्स हैं, उन सभी को प्रोटेक्ट करना एंड प्रोवाइडिंग मेजर्स फॉर देयर बेटर ग्रोथ in terms of nutrition, housing, health and breeding. Then sixth is careful attention on the improvement of farming system on the wider environment and the conservation of wildlife and natural habitat. Remember the 6 points for your prelims as well as mains point of view. Now the certification confusion goes for the National Program for Organic Production NPOP, which was adopted in 2001 and administered by the Ministry of Commerce, which provides the certification originally meant for the export of organic products. तो ऑर्गेनिक प्रोडक्ट्स जो इंडिया मैन्युफैक्चर हो रहे थे मित्रों, उनके सर्टिफिकेशन के लिए NPOP बनाया गया. देन द प्रॉब्लम विद द 28 third party certification must have checked that fertilizers, insecticides, herbicide and hormones and pesticides are not included. Then in case of the proceeds of food, the certifier checks that the producer came from NPOP certification and that pauses the NPOP certification processing. यानी कि जो भी प्रोडक्ट आ रहा है NPOP उत्पाद के लेंसिंग के थ्रू आ रहा है and that product is totally chemical free, hygienic and quality product. Now what is the problem? That third party certification is expensive and must be renewed annually. थर्ड पार्टी के द्वारा जो भी इन्वेस्टमेंट हो रहे हैं वेरी एक्सपेंसिव. सो ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग के द्वारा बढ़िया कल्टीवेशन हो रहा है, बट द प्रॉब्लम इज दैट द कॉस्ट ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट रिमेन्स हाई. एज यू सी दैट व्हेन वी आर परचेजिंग ऑर्गेनिक टी और ऑर्गेनिक राइस, ऑर्गेनिक व्हीट, तो उसके दाम काफ़ी हाई रहते हैं. दैट अगेन मेक्स द लेस कंजम्पशन इन द मार्केट. तो वैसे उपभोक्ता उसे नहीं खरीदते हैं बिकॉज पीपुल आर हैविंग अ टेंडेंसी टू परचेज चीप प्रोडक्ट. नाउ the program is restricted to big components with work on the farmers over the thousands of acres and earn revenues largely from exporting non-perishable oilseeds, processed foods and cereals, teas, spices and pulses. That certified food products carry the Indian organic logo, that is Government of India logo on the organic products, and the Commission, America's USDA and Switzerland. Then participatory guarantee system for India, PGS India, practiced in 38 countries and recognized by the Union Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare since 2018. तो 2018 में ही मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर ने इसे सर्टिफिकेशन दे दिया, देन 5 more growers who live close to each other on farm with having trained organic farming. 5 एक जैसे प्रोड्यूसर, कल्टीवेटर्स, फार्मर्स एक जगह पे रह रहे हैं और अगर वो ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग कर रहे हैं तो उन्हें गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा ट्रेनिंग, स्किल डेवलपमेंट एंड उन्हें ऑर्गेनिक क्रॉप्स को प्रोवाइड किया जाना, सीड्स को प्रोवाइड किया जाना एंड अदर वेरियस फैसिलिटीज आर बीइंग प्रोवाइडेड. देन with the help of regional councils in India, we are having the non-farms and producers in the non-sold units. तो रीजनल फार्मिंग एरियाज में नॉन फार्म एंटिटीज़ को हम ब्लॉक कर रहे हैं. इंडिया इज नाउ हैविंग 6,646 PGS groups and 2.1 lakh farmers. So the catch is that is participatory guarantee system having guarantees in foundation and it has a little cash over the long term market for the organic produce. So organic produce जो भी निकल रहे हैं उनके लिए long term gap डेवलप किया जा रहा है. That again leads for the recognition of US and European Union. अमेरिका और US के द्वारा इसे प्रोड्यूस किया जा रहा है and they can't sell their food products into NPOP market. So India's specific classification of drought. अगर हम ड्रॉट की बात करें देन वी सी विदर्भा किसान सुइसाइड ओवर द ड्रॉट. विदर्भ में किसान जो है सुइसाइड कर लेते हैं इन ड्रॉट्स. तो देयर वाज ओवरऑल डेफिशिएंसी इन मोर देन 10% ऑफ लॉन्ग पीरियड एवरेज वैल्यू एंड मोर देन 20% ऑफ एरिया affected by drought conditions, either by moderate and severe drought. Now IMD, that is Indian Meteorological Department, classifies the drought as a situation when there is no rainfall or where there is scanty rainfall. So this kind of classification lead to severe and moderate. IMD officially expunges the word drought in vocabulary as a part of the decision making to redefine the term, that is all India drought year. Instead of all India drought year, we define all India severe drought year, and IMD proposed deficient year of the drought and large deficient year. So IMD ने सुधार करके दो नए कीवर्ड डाले, that is first is deficient year, refusing the drought year by deficient year and more deficient year. तो अब जब कम बारिश होगी तो वैसे क्षेत्र को हम डेफिशिएंट रेनफॉल ईयर कहेंगे एंड मोर डेफिशिएंट रेनफॉल ईयर कहेंगे. सो व्हाट इज ड्रॉट? सो ड्रॉट इज कैरेक्टराइज्ड बाय लैक ऑफ प्रेसिपिटेशन. आर्द्रता की कमी को हम ड्रॉट कहते हैं. दैट इज स्कैंटी रेनफॉल सिचुएशन और नो रेन सिचुएशन is called as a drought, and for protracted period of time resulting into water shortage for irrigation. Now drought occurs at naturally and human activities such as water use and management can extracted by dry conditions. Now the graph shows that how drought genesis is classified by natural climate variability. So drought situation occurs in the tropical countries where there is scanty of rainfall and there is minimum rainfall, which is showed in this flow chart. तो remember this flow chart, आप इस flow chart को draw करेंगे और याद रखेंगे. Now precipitation intensity, timing and high temperature, high wind, low relative humidity, greater sunshine, less cloud cover, then reduction in infiltration, runoff and groundwater recharge, then increase evaporation and transmission again leads to drought situation, and this is classified as meteorological drought. तो फ्रेंड्स आप इस डेटा को याद रखेंगे फॉर क्लासिफिकेशन इनटू मेट्रोलॉजिकल ड्रॉट. Then second is agricultural drought. Under agricultural drought, there is soil water deficiency, which is again under the plant waste stress, reduced biomass and yields that goes to the reduced stream flow and inflow of reservation lakes, ponds, reduced wetlands, wildlife habitat. Then there is इकोनॉमिकल इम्पैक्ट. तो इकोनॉमिक इम्पैक्ट क्या हो रहा है मित्रों? दैट इज प्रोडक्शन लॉस इन द एग्रीकल्चर एंड रिलेटेड सेक्टर्स. सपोज देयर इज अ खरीफ क्रॉप और उस टाइम अगर रेनफॉल नहीं हुई तो देयर इज डेफिशिएंसी इन राइस कल्टीवेशन, देयर इज डिक्रीज इन कॉटन एंड देयर इज लॉस ऑफ इकोनॉमिक रेवेन्यू फ्रॉम द एग्री फील्ड. And what leads to the social impact? Disruption in rural society on account of cultivation. Rural society is highly dependent on agriculture and rainfall produce. तो जैसे ही drought हो जाता है in such areas there is drop out in the cultural activities. schools में admission कम हो जाते हैं, festivals नहीं मनाते हैं, लोग परेशान हो जाते हैं. Then what are environmental impacts? Low water level in the groundwater and reservoirs, then reduction in the wildlife and sharpening of mammalia. जैसे ही पानी की कमी हो जाती है ग्राउंड वाटर डिप्लीशन होना शुरू हो जाता है एंड दैट ग्राउंड वाटर डिप्लीशन लीड्स टू रिडक्शन इन द वाटर टेबल इन द इन्वायरमेंट एंड दैट अगेन लीड्स टू रिडक्शन इन द वाइल्ड लाइफ एंड द मैन एनिमल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. So this leads to hydrological drought. So remember these three drought criteria: meteorological drought, agricultural droughts and hydrological drought. So classification of drought again goes for meteorological, which defined as the deficiency of precipitation from expected to normal level. Then hydrological drought, which leads to deficiency of surface and subsurface water and leading to the condition arising even in the times of average or above average rainfall. Then agricultural drought, which leads to meteorological and hydrological drought occurring when there is moisture and rainfall deficiency in the overall scenario. Remember this fact again for your prelims as well as mains point of view. Now as the assessment of disaster management comes for disaster mitigation and management under NDMA guideline, National Disaster Management Authority के द्वारा NDMA एक्ट के द्वारा ये अथॉरिटी सेट की गई. दैट इज अगेन स्टैट्यूटरी बॉडी अंडर नेशनल डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट एक्ट ऑफ 2005, सेंडाई फ्रेमवर्क. So it creates the two disaster management bodies. First is the National Disaster Management Body, second is the State Disaster Management Authority, and this leads to Disaster Management Committee under preparation of vulnerability for the respective states. Then watershed development approach for important facets of watershed management and drought management. सूखे प्रभावित क्षेत्रों में पानी की अवेलेबिलिटी को बढ़ाने के लिए ड्रॉट मैनेजमेंट अथॉरिटी काम करती है. सो वी आर हैविंग इंटीग्रेटेड ग्राउंड बेस्ड इंफॉर्मेशन एंड स्पेस इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम. In order to cater the drought situation, IMD calculates the precipitation. Indian Meteorological Department precipitation की डेटा को कैलकुलेट करती है through automatic weather stations, which include moisture sensors, which obtain information about the soil and availability of moisture in the atmosphere. Then there is unit of deceleration of drought should be standardized, and alternative method of quicker assessment of crop variety needed to evolve so as to mitigate the impact of drought. Then third part is prevention, preparedness and mitigation of drought. So National Disaster Management Authority preparation, mitigation और preparedness करती है drought protection के लिए. So there is automatic weather station which calculate the information of precipitation, information of moisture in the environment, information of moisture in the soil, and that leads to appropriate spacing of enable micro level analysis and forecasting of moisture in the present scenario. Further mitigation of measures to be taken will include conduct of pilot based testing. Pilot based testing किसी भी एरिया का in terms of moisture availability and water availability ये IMD करती है, and which makes the creation of mitigation plan to meet the drought targets. So we see that we are having a PGI 70 indicators. Now coming to the school and education sector, we have the PGI 70 indicators हैं हमारे पास. Now this indicator categorize the governance management and the outcomes of education. So how the government of India and the state education department manages the educational policy in order to provide the education in terms of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, and for this we are having midday meal scheme. So under Article 21A of Constitution of India, भारत के संविधान के आर्टिकल 21A में हमें यूनिवर्सल एजुकेशन फॉर द इंडियन पीपल इन द एज ऑफ 6 to 14 ईयर्स प्रोवाइड किया जाता है फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट साइड, एंड विच इज़ ऑल्सो पार्ट ऑफ डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसी अंडर आर्टिकल 45, एंड विच प्रोवाइड्स द learning outcome and quality education for the children of rural as well as semi-urban areas with infrastructure building facilities and creation of governance management by providing schools and colleges. Further, for education, government provides the governance processes by making the development of पॉलिसीज़ एंड स्कीम्स. शिक्षा के प्रचार प्रसार के लिए सरकार योजनाएं बनाती हैं एट गवर्नेंस लेवल, एंड दैट गोज़ फॉर द लोकल लेवल इन अ डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड फॉर्मेट फ्रॉम अ स्टेट टू द पंचायती राज इंस्टीट्यूशन व्हेन देयर इज़ अ रीच ऑफ द एजुकेशन टू द ग्रास रूट लेवल एट द स्कूल्स एट द स्मॉल सेंटर्स. सो दे आर द डोमेन ऑफ आउटकम एंड क्वालिटी. वहाँ पे एजुकेशन की क्वालिटी भी निर्धारित की जाती है. फॉर एग्जांपल वी सी दैट एसर रिपोर्ट, एनुअल सर्वे ऑफ स्कूल एजुकेशन, एसर रिपोर्ट, देन वी हैव प्रथम रिपोर्ट फॉर स्कूल एजुकेशन, वो सब चेक किया जाता है फॉर द डोमेन 4 इक्विटी एंड डोमेन 2 एक्सेस. रिमेंबर दिस डेटा फॉर योर प्रीलिम्स एज वेल एज मेंस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. नाउ प्रोजेक्ट मशीर. In 1971, we have collaborative between Tata Power and Central Institute of Fisheries for development of fisheries in terms of mashir. So mashir is a special kind of mashir, and which have around 5 lakh mashir center bred and valve hatchery in Lonavala in Maharashtra, and artificial lake for the development of वेलवेन डैम प्रोजेक्ट विद द टाटा पावर. सो वेलवेन डैम प्रोजेक्ट में हमने एक हैचरी बना ली जहाँ पे कि महशीर मछलियों का पालन किया जाता है, एंड दैट लीड्स टू द सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ ब्लू रिवोल्यूशन. सो अगेन मत्स्य पालन उद्योग लीड्स टू ब्लू रिवोल्यूशन, एंड वी सॉ इन द इकोनॉमी सर्वे एज वेल एज द बजट एनालिसिस दैट द फिशरी सेक्टर कंट्रीब्यूट्स अराउंड 14% ऑफ इकोनॉमी. And project finally meets for the fruit after the 50 years by getting delisted from red list of IUCN. So International Union of Conservation of Nature has put this project under red list because it feels that there is threat to the fisheries that are brought into their channels. तो उसके लिए इसने red list में से डाला हुआ था. Now it has changed it from red list to yellow list. Remember this fact. So ब्लूफिन दैट डेक्कन मछलीज, वैसी मछलियाँ जो कि डेक्कन में होती हैं, विच इज़ ओल्डर मशीर एंड विच इज़ हैविंग एन IUCN स्टेटस इन द रिवर ऑफ डेक्कन प्लेटू एंड साउथ इंडिया. सो डेक्कन मशीर वैसी मछलियाँ जो कि डेक्कन में होती हैं, दे आर डेक्कन मशीर एंड दे आर मोर कॉस्टली एंड मोर bulky in the market and they are fetching more money than red-finned mahseer. Red-finned mahseer होती है in the rivers of central India, in Madhya Pradesh, in Narmada Tapi region. And chocolate mahseer found in the northeastern region, northeastern state में chocolate mahseer मछली. Then orange finned humpback mahseer in areas of Kaveri river and tributaries, and IUCN status is critically endangered. Remember this, friends. This is critically endangered mahseer. So now we see that how toy manufacturing clusters has been included in India for development of toys. यानी कि चाइना के कंपैरिजन में इंडिया हैज़ ग्रोन इनटू अ टॉय क्लस्टर, और चाइना was producing more toys, so India also started comparing because toy cluster is having more resource efficiency and more revenue than any other cluster in the market. So families are having children and children needs toys, तो उनके लिए गवर्नमेंट ने नेशनल टॉयज क्लस्टर बनाए. सो इन पंजाब वी फाउंड चाणक्य टॉय विसल, घुघरू, रैटल बॉक्स फॉर बेबीज, लट्टू स्पिनिंग टॉप्स एंड हंडवाई दैट इज किचन चिन इन पंजाब. पंजाब में फर्स्ट क्लस्टर देखते हैं. सेकंड इन आसाम दैट इज अश्रीकंडी टेराकोटा टॉयज, मिट्टी के बने हुए खिलौने फॉर्म ऑफ मड, that is in Assam. Then next is Manipur Life Adbi. Then Odisha Sambalpur toy cluster. Then in Telangana Nirmal toy cluster. In Gujarat Thigar Digla. Karnataka Channapatna toy and Kinnal toy cluster. So these make all the news for the recent questions. UPSC ने अभी इस क्षेत्र में क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछे हैं, सो मेक इट योर नोट्स फॉर योर फिल्म्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. एंड तमिलनाडु वी हैव थंजावुर गोलू डॉल्स. नाउ वी लुक इनटू द शॉर्ट न्यूज दैट रेमूरा रिवर फॉरेस्ट इन सिक्किम इज द 6th नेशनल पार्क इन आसाम, कोलकाझार. सो आसाम में 7 national parks हैं totally, which contributes to huge green coverage and national importance. Now, the Raimora Reserve Forest, located in the eastern border of Assam, is again a new national park. So, number of national park we are having in Assam: Raimora, Manas, Orang, Naimi, Kaziranga, Debating and Dibru. These are formed in the Bhutan region to Baksai Tiger Reserve in the West Bengal to West Reserve in Assam and goes for home of golden langur and clouded leopard. So Raimona National Park में हमें क्या मिलते हैं? Golden langur and there is clouded leopard. Now, then next, UNAM 4, Indian Navy and European Union Naval Force has joined maiden exercise in the Gulf of Aden called as UNAM 4. UNAM 4 is a joint exercise by Indian Navy and EU, and which is known as the Gulf of Berar for deep water Gulf between Yemen and to the Arabian Sea to the east, Djibouti to the west, Somalia to the south, and Operation Sagar Arakash 2 for coordination of joint exercise between India and Sri Lanka to respond the potential of environmental danger due to major fire on board of chemical laden container MV Express Pearl anchored in off Colombo. Remember this name, this again keyword. कौन सी vehicle? A vehicle carrying the chemicals which was burst in the port of Colombo, that was MVX Press Pearl. आप इसे याद रखेंगे, MVX Press Pearl. Next news is World Energy Investment Report 2021. IEA, that is International Energy Agency, created in 1974 to help coordination and collective response for the supply of oil disruption. Now, annual global energy investment set to $1.9 trillion and rebounding nearly 10% under 2020. Now, this energy cluster goes for development of various kind of energy technology which are needed for the future development of various sectors, with investment of 70% of total $530 billion, which cost for the energy development and distribution in the market. Then upstream investment of oil and gas is expected to grow 10%. Then global emission is set to grow by 1.5 billion. The LEAF Coalition, now launched by an initiation group of Norway, UK and USA, we are having lowering emission by accelerating forest finance. Lowering emission by accelerated finance. LEAF Coalition, remember it for your prelims as well as mains, which aims to mobilize the $1 billion finance to support the tropical and subtropical forest areas. ट्रॉपिकल और सब ट्रॉपिकल फॉरेस्ट एरियाज के डेवलपमेंट के लिए $1 बिलियन का फंड हमने मोबिलाइज किया है अंडर लीफ प्रोजेक्ट विथ नॉर्वे, यूएस एंड यूके, एंड इट लीड्स टू emission from deforestation and reduction of the deforestation by creating more forestation in the green zones and support countries to achieving their nationally determined contribution under COP21 target. COP21 टारगेट में जो नेशनली डिटरमाइंड कंट्रीब्यूशंस थे उनको सपोर्ट किया जा रहा है. देन इट रिड्यूसिंग द इमिशन फ्रॉम डिफॉरेस्टेशन एंड फॉरेस्ट डिग्रेडेशन, रेड प्लस मैकेनिज्म, रेड प्लस एंड NDC targets that are being incurred in this LEAF project. NDC plus red. Remember this for your prelims as mains, and which key stakeholders including indigenous people as well as the local communities. So वैसे एरियाज जहाँ पे डिफॉरेस्टेशन हो रहे थे, जंगलों का कटाव हो रहा था, उनके संरक्षण के लिए और इंक्रीजिंग द फॉरेस्ट इन दैट एरिया, local communities are taken into confidence and they are provided with the fund, function as well as functionaries by granting $1 billion fund for their development. So this is very important news. Now some personalities which makes the news of June month is Kabir Das, a Bhakti cult reformer and again a Bhojpuri, Urdu, Hindi and a very learned person who said into Bijak Sabad Rasal. And Kabir Das was very famous social teacher and performed various kinds of poetry in order to guide the people of India and various societies to reach at good level of their mindset, and in order to cater the needs of social changes, social discriminations, to reduce those things, Kabir Das played a huge role, and he has also collected with the 6th Guru Arjan Dev. Now social critic of dissent, he was also critic of caste and religion dogmatism. जो जातिगत भेदभाव हो रहे थे समाज में और धार्मिक क्षेत्र पे जो भेदभाव थे उनको कबीर दास ने कैटर किया. देन ऋषि बंकिम चंद्र चट्टोपाध्याय, सेकेंड पर्सनैलिटी, कॉल्ड एज द ऋषि बिकॉज ऑफ फर्स्ट इंडियन नॉवेल इन इंग्लिश एट राजमोहन्स वाइफ, एंड इट वॉज हिज फर्स्ट नॉवेल एट आनंद मठ, एंड Sannyasi Bidroh, rebellion of monks in the 18th century. Then he founded a monthly magazine called Bangdarshan in 1872. Then he founded the Vivek Bhiksha, the poison tree, then Devi Chodamani. These are all asked in the previous year's question of UPSC. Then critical thoughts for patriotism. He propagated the patriotism feeling in the national sentiment in the time when India was under the British regime. So that is why he is very important. He also make the enlightenment for the literary view, and he faced the Bharat Mata as mother goddess image and patriotic song for India. Now Jamshedji Tata, a better entrepreneur, visionary and a philanthropist in the 5th century, and he's found that 50 gives by Hunuru report globally by Edelgi Foundation. So Jamshedji Tata emerged to be one of the largest philanthropy during the period of Hunuru report in 1950s when India was get independence, and he also launched Air India. So India की पहली एयरलाइन Air India Jamshedji Tata ने लॉन्च की. Then 3 great ideas of his life goes for iron and steel company at Jamshedpur, then hydroelectric power project, then world class educational institution in India. So he established India's first commercial airline, and his hard work and diligence formed the iron and steel industry. Further, Jamshedji Tata formed London School of Economics with IAS Bangalore. Now, PC Mahalanobis we found in second 5-year plan in the year of 1955 that is called as the Mahalanobis plan in the economic recovery of India during the planning module of Jawaharlal Nehru government. So in June 29 celebrated as National Statistical Day on the name of PC Mahalanobis by establishing National Statistical Institute. So Jamshedji PC Mahalanobis के नाम से Indian Institute of Statistics found हुआ and National Statistical Institute found किया गया. He founded Indian Statistical Institute for studying the statistics and data which forecast the probability of economic activities in India by checking all the facts and figures under various perspectives of economic activities. So India's second 5-year plan 1956-61 was called as Mahalanobis plan, focused on the development of public sector and rapid industrialization. He founded the ISI Institute and undertake large scale surveys. Then there is Prasad Bismil. Prasad Bismil was under the Ministry of Culture celebrated the Prasad Bismil to mark the birth anniversary on 11th June under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So Prasad Bismil said that शहीदों के चिताओं पे लगेंगे हर बरस मेले, वतन पे मरने वालों का बाकी यही निशान होगा. And Prasad Bismil founded HSRA with Bhagat Singh and Chandrasekhar Azad in order to fight with the British regime, and he was arrested in Mainpuri conspiracy case, then Kakwari conspiracy case in year 1925. So his leadership and conviction for the youth for strengthening voice against the alienation and exploitation, and he participated in highly dangerous plot for sacrifices on life against the British regime. Now we have certain questions in terms of multiple choice question. After this we will end the class. So let us discuss that what is the Southern Ocean which was seen in the news. So first is it is recently declared as the 7th ocean for the world. Then it is only ocean to complete embrace continent rather than being embraced by them. And third is it is northern limit in latitude of 600 north. So you can write the answer in the comment box, we will discuss it later. Next question is Union government recently paid tribute to Shahid Prasad Bismil on his birth anniversary on 11th June under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So under which of the following he was associated? Hindustan Socialist Republic Association, Lahore conspiracy case, Kakwari conspiracy case and Mainpuri conspiracy case. So write the correct answer in the comment box. Now next question is various organizations recently initiated Twitter campaign demanding official language status to Tulu. Tulu is a language in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Then folk theatres Yakshagana is performed in Tulu language. Which of the following statements is correct? So mention your answer in the comment box, we will look it later. Now the Southern Ocean Current goes for the World Ocean Day 8th June where we see that National Geographical magazine organized Southern Ocean as the world fifth ocean. So विश्व का पांचवा ओशन के रूप में साउदर्न ओशन को लिया गया है दोस्तों, फिफ्थ ओशन ऑफ वर्ल्ड. Then other four ocean are Atlantic, Pacific, Indian and Arctic Ocean, and its latitude of 60 degrees south. Further, it touches the three other oceans of Pacific, Atlantic and Indian Ocean. It also defined as the Antarctic circumpolar current that revolves under the Atlantic Ocean meridional circulation. So ये नॉर्थ अमेरिका है, ये साउथ अमेरिका है, और ये अफ्रीका, ये इंडिया, दिस इज ऑस्ट्रेलिया, रशिया. So this waves circulate in the South Indian Ocean, making this kind of movement. Okay friends, remember this data. Now Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrated with Ram Prasad Bismil. Answer 3 and 4 correct. That is Kakori conspiracy case and Manipuri conspiracy case में बिस्मिल को अरेस्ट किया गया था in 1924. He was also part of Hindustan's Republic Association with Bhagat Singh and arrested at Shahjahanpur district of Uttar Pradesh. He was friend of Rajendra Lahiri, Asfaqullah Khan, Thakur Roshan Singh, and hanged on 1927 for involved in the conspiracy. Now, Tulu is a Dravidian language spoken in two coastal districts of Dakshin Kannada, Udupi, Karnataka, Kasaragod district of Kerala, and 2011 census report that 18,46,426 Tulu speaking people are in India. तो तुलु भाषा के लिए अब डिमांड हो रही है. And Tulu is rich oral literature in with folk songs with padanna and traditional folk theatre yakshagana. So yakshagana और padanna में इसका मेंशन है, padanna and yakshagana, and it comes with the 5 to 7 Tulu languages movies produced in the year. Now Raja Prabha of Odisha is 3-day festival during the midday June being in monsoon. राजा देवा फेस्टिवल कब होता है? मानसून के टर्म में ओडिशा में. And it is dedicated to मातृभूमि, that is mother earth, भूमि माता, and womanhood at large. So it is again a womanhood celebration. So such issues are asked by the UPSC in terms of women and women festival for women emancipation. So it is called as Vasumati Sannana by bathing of Mother Earth. माता पृथ्वी को नहलाया जाने की क्रिया इस फेस्टिवल में की जाती है. Now there is Dagmara multi-purpose hydropower project set up in which of the following state? That is NHPC under state of Bihar in Kosi river is signing Bihar State Hydroelectric Power Corporation with National Hydropower Corporation for Dagmara hydroelectric power project to protect runoff river and 753 meter 130 megawatt generation with 36 gate river Kosi being total length of 233 kilometer. रिवर कोसी को सौर ऑफ बिहार कहा जाता है और डागमारा प्रोजेक्ट इसलिए बनाया जाता है ताकि फ्लडिंग को कम किया जा सके. Now little bottle which is under consideration of which part? So answer is little bottle is taken into the monsoon and it is a harbinger of a monsoon. So it is a part of a dragonfly. ऐसी dragonfly हम देखते हैं जब बारिश होने वाली रहती है तो ऐसी dragonfly हमें उड़ते हुए दिखते हैं. That is little bottle. What is Eagle Act? Ensuring America's global leadership. That forms an Eagle Act by USA. So more questions are there under DRDO. What is Indian organization developed near isothermal forging technology for producing jet engine? Jet engine propagation के लिए कोई टेक्नोलॉजी लाई गई है. Which organization? DRDO has proposed this high pressure compressor technology. So difficult to deform titanium alloy, unique 2000 metric tons isothermal large process by DRDO. Fourth question is the game of boxing has been highly celebrated in India. So Pooja Rani Bohra is associated with which sport? The answer is boxing. Next question is from science, that is Hubble Space Telescope captured the detailed photo of NGC 691. Such short questions are asked in UPSC. That what is NGC 691? So it has an unparalleled spiral galaxy located in constellation of Aries. So 691 क्या है? Galaxies. Now what is Epida? Epida identified Mathura and Banaskantha as cluster for export development for which sector? So Banaskantha and Mathura are having huge product of dairies, cows and buffaloes. And what would be the rate of global unemployment in the year 2022 as per International Labour Organization? So it is around 5.7%. Question 8 is which countries announced additional $800 million funding the COVAX program to protect corona? Which country has given 800 million of fund? That is USA. Which country is to play host to the UN Sustainable Transport Conference in 2021? So that country hosts for UN conference, that is India. Next. So in this way we end this session of June current affair, and I believe that you have noted down all these questions and read the current throughout, because the 30% of the questions are asked from the current point of view. So I believe that you are understanding the fact and figure and appreciate the lecture. Thank you and have a nice day. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.